Good morning. My name is Nora Wykevich, and I'm a freshman here at Wilmot Union High School. Our next speaker's family is predominantly a military family with a dad and stepdad that served in World War II and 4 sons who served in the Cold War and Vietnam War, 2 in the Army, 2 in the Marines, and 2 in the Air Force. Chief Master Sergeant Hadley enlisted in the Air Force in 1963 and served nearly 26 years as a mechanic and air crew member on large aircraft. He served at air bases in the United States, Iceland, the Far East, and with NATO in Europe. Sergeant Hadley retired in 1989 at the highest enlisted rank, a Chief Master Sergeant, and having accumulated over 16,000 flying hours and having traveled all around the world. After his retirement, Chief Master Sergeant flew with Eastern Airlines and worked in computer retail. Today, he volunteers with the Veterans Administration, the Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, the American Legion, as well as other service organizations. Please join me in welcoming Chief Master Sergeant Howard Hadley, United States Air Force, retired.
Thank you for welcoming me back to high school. 62 years ago, I attended high school. My favorite subjects were recess, lunch, and principal's office. And why do I come to Wilmot? I hadn't heard of Wilmot until last year. As a volunteer with the Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, the Wilmot Band played at one of our homecoming celebrations. The band played their hearts out. I was so impressed. I met the band leader, a Navy Chief Petty Officer, John Sorensen. John and I talked for a few minutes, and he wore his uniform in respect to our returning veterans. And to you, John, I say, fair winds and following seas. May you rest in peace. I flew all over the world, but after I retired, again, I flew with the airlines, and then I retired into some commercial ventures. I served in Da Nang, Vietnam as a mechanic. I transitioned to flight engineer, flying C-141 aircraft and AWACS aircrafts, and was even promoted into a pilot position. So I've flown airplanes as a mechanic, an engineer, and a pilot. And I've flown all over the world. And one thing I notice, we're all the same. Regardless of what we look like, how we dress, we're all the same. Now today we honor the veterans who served. Veterans are all around us. We work in retail, we go on speaking tours, we wear the uniform. How do we recognize veterans? A hat is one way, a military bearing, wearing parts of the uniform is another. Serving the community is another. And to the veterans, I say thank you for your service, but I'd rather say thank you for our freedom. Because of you, we're doing what we do today, free assembly, free speech, and lots of rights. Veterans are the core. How do we thank a veteran? We acknowledge a veteran's existence. We don't walk away from veterans. When we see a veteran, we thank them personally. We engage them in small talk if possible. We want to hear their stories. This is something history doesn't want to forget. We're veterans. We serve proudly. I enlisted in the Kennedy years, and a famous saying from John Fitzgerald Kennedy, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And that's why I served, to serve my country. We all enlisted, we took an oath that said we would support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. That oath does not expire. We also signed a contract, a legal contract for our period of service. When we retired or were discharged, honorably we were considered veterans. And we're here today as veterans to honor veterans. So let us not forget who helped us. And I'm not alone. Thank you for our veterans in the audience and for those that can't make it today. Thank you and God bless.